racing fans. This is Dr. K from Omaha, Nebraska, and today's topic is track profiles. I don't know how many of you have ever made track profiles. I don't know how many of you have ever seen how to make them properly, but we're going to talk about them today because they're a really important idea in trying to figure out what the real track bias for certain tracks are, certain distances, and so you can get a great idea of what it takes to win at any given track. It also allows you to keep track of rainfall on a daily basis if there is any, so you've got a really good idea of how a track should play. So let's talk about, in just quick order, the various things that you can do with a track profile. The first thing is you can do what's called an 80-20 line. And what an 80-20 line is, you figure out how far behind a horse is at the first call and the second call with 80% of the data. If you think about it, 80-20 is pretty good. If you can say to yourself, the horse that I'm picking today fits within 80% of the winners at this track at this distance, you've got a good chance to win. So an 80-20 line makes a lot of sense. Secondly, a track profile allows you to see what the class differences are. Some of the class differences are pretty stark. As you can imagine, a maiden special weight doesn't run as fast as a grade 1 horse. But you can look at it in mathematical terms and see how much better a grade 1 or a grade 2 or an allowance horse has to be than a maiden winner just out. So you've got a great idea of how much better a horse is going to have to be in order to be competitive. Or maybe this maiden special weight horse was just so phenomenal, so dominant, but you got a good idea then of where those horses' numbers lie in a class structure. So those are really helpful. You can also sort by running style, so you've got a good idea of if you've got an EP or a P, are most of those Ps, the pressers, just one length, maybe length and a half behind? Are they 3 or 4 lengths behind? Or if you want to try and figure out for the deep closers, are the deep closers like 5 or 6 lengths? Or are you seeing ones that are like 10 and 15 lengths behind? It's really important to know how far back you can be in lengths as well as on the designation of the presser versus closer versus an early horse. Where, just again, how fast do they have to run and where do they have to be to have a chance to win and be within that 80-20 split. You can also run Brohammer numbers through the software that we provide to you or that you can buy depending on which of it you prefer. We provide a lot of free software in Excel spreadsheets, but there's also an all-in-one package that you can buy that generates the Brohammer numbers too off of what you save and keep in a track profile. Again, it gives you a great opportunity then at the end of the meet to summarize all the mile races, all say the 5.5 furlong races at a place like Saratoga or the 5 furlong turf races at a place like Del Mar, and you can get a real good idea of what the class structure is. But you've also got a great opportunity to just look and see, oh, they had rain on these 2 or 3 days. Well, you could be just about anywhere on the track on that day and win. But then when they hadn't had rain for 2 weeks, if you weren't within about a length of the front, you had no chance of winning. Track profiles allow you to keep track of the rain, so you've got a good idea of what style is going to win on this day, and you can pick horses looking at the form that have the class, that meet the distance conditions, and have the numbers to win today. So that's why we do track profiles. Now let's look at some examples. What you see on the screen here is a very basic track profile for Churchill Downs Turf Course. It was about 2 years ago in the spring meet of 2023. Some of you may remember that meet got cut short and they shipped the horses to Ellis. I really don't think there was much of a problem with the turf race course, but Churchill people decided different. But what this does, as you can see, it's got the date of the race, it's got the distance of the race, so 8 would be a mile race, 8.5 would be 8.5 furlongs, which would be a mile and 16th, or 9 furlongs, which would be a mile and 1/8. It's got the ultimate winner's time at the first call, the second call, and then the final call. Then we also plug in the class, and then how far back the winner was at the first call and the second call. And so all within just that information, you can do so much. You can keep track of track records, for instance. I didn't do it for this one, but In this particular meet, at the 5.5 furlong distance at Churchill that year, they set the track record twice within about 3 or 4 weeks. And so I was able to keep track of that as well. But this is the basic information you're going to want to keep in your database. Again, you do it by distance. You put the first, second calls in there, and then the final number, and then how far back. And the class can really be helpful if you're trying to generate something too. But this is all the information you need to keep. You can get it from Equibase. They've got full charts every day. It takes you about 5 minutes to put down whatever races for the day. In a normal day at a place like Churchill, if they've got 9 races, maybe they have 2 or 3 turf races. So it doesn't take very long on a daily basis to do it, but it saves you a lot of time to put it all in one place. You save it in a spreadsheet, and as part of the book, if you buy it, we send you the track profiles for free from previous meets such as Santa Anita, Saratoga, and Churchill. And so you can get a template real easy. You can see exactly how to do it. And then we're going to now look at the various numbers that you can generate from it too. What we just got done showing you was the very simple track profile that you can do. And it's really a great opportunity to see the track profiles in real time. You can sort it by date, for example, and by distance. And then you've got a perfect way of looking at both the class structures and exactly how the track played over a long period of time. What I've now got on the screen is a more complex one, which not only shows you, it uses the same basic information from the one that we just showed, but then it also calculates what the par numbers would have been for each winning horse. And this is from Kentucky Downs. This is 2025. And so it's got every winner at this distance. And I'm trying to remember what this distance was. These were all mile races at Kentucky Downs. I don't have the dates on there, but this would be all the mile races ran at Kentucky Downs in the 2025 meet, and I've calculated everything across for a variety of statistics, and then at the bottom I've got the averages as well. You'll notice right in the middle of it that you've got also the references to the class, and so you can sort it by class, you can sort it by the time of the race, you can sort it any number of ways. And one of the things that I think is really important, and this would be the type of software that you would buy from us, is we give you the stuff on the track profiles on the simple one, but then you would transfer some of it over to this so you can calculate all these numbers that are on here. But the great thing that this type of stuff does is you can calculate all these other Brohammer statistics. Those of you who've read Tom Brohammer's book, it's the best book that's ever been written, the best book that ever will be written. But it calculates a lot of different things. But I think these track profiles are even more inclusive, give you a lot more data than even the track profiles that Tom talks about in his book. So it's well worth the money to read Tom Brohammer's book on track profiles, or his chapter on track profiles. And then we've got a very long chapter, 15, 20 pages just on track profiles. And we go into a lot more depth than Tom did. And I think they're a lot more usable. And some of the examples that we'll show in further episodes will give you a good idea of why they're so helpful and how they lead you to the winners that really especially hit on long shots. So with that, that's all for today. Have a great day of racing.